have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.
And welcome, everybody. Welcome back to We Believe Digital News Break. My name is Chris Young. I'll be your host today, and we've been on a bit of a hiatus. You know, myself and Mr. Socrates Garrett were doing the news break for, about 5 months, 3 times a week, and schedules and all with the holidays and different things going on, so we had to take a little bit of a hiatus, and so we're back to it now, and hope you can plan on joining us. We're going to look at Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 noon Central Standard Time here in this fabulous studio, broadcasting live from downtown Jackson, Mississippi. You can view us anywhere in the world where you have an internet connection. A lot of people, YouTube and Facebook and our own website, We Believe Digital, is adding content every single day. But please feel free to go there to see the show also. So again, thank you for joining us. And we thought we'd kick back off with a special guest, the newly elevated president of the Hinds County Board of Supervisors, Mr. Vern Gavin. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing very well, Chris, and thank you so very much for having me on this occasion to be on your show. It is a great pleasure, and I look forward to speaking with the audience as it relates to what's happening in Hinds County. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, you're most welcome. We're happy to have you. So remind the viewers, how long have you been on the board now?
Well, actually, right now I've just concluded my third year.
Third, okay.
Year on the board. As you know, prior to that, I served as the county administrator. Of course, that's been some 14 years ago. And a lot have happened, and a lot of things have changed since that time. But we're moving forward, and we have a very, very positive agenda that we have implemented. And I have great reason to feel very optimistic about our future.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, congratulations on being in the president's chair now. I know I've been to several meetings. I know an enormous amount gets done. Sometimes it gets a little dicey, but it seems like the overarching will of the people seems to happen. And I also love what is seeing when you guys take time to acknowledge the older folks that have been out there and in the struggle and contributing to our community, and you always seem to make time to, I forget if it's proclamations or something, but you always make time to honor them, and I just think that that's really important to not be forgetting these people that have come before us and laid the groundwork.
That is correct. As you know, we just lost a real soldier in Miss Aneva Pittman. She was found in her home as a result of a fire, and consequently she was called home to be with the Lord.
Right.
But we have a lot of people who have been very, very active in the community to help improve the social and economic conditions for this county. And we like to try to recognize those individuals and give them their due diligence while they are alive. And so that they would know that they are appreciated and that work has not gone unnoticed.
Well, and another thing too, and I'm just one of those people that say it out loud. Too many people, I think, don't say it out loud. I know Dr. King reminded us that silence it really hurts us bad, but it seemed like there's so many people, black people especially, that end up being invisible, but you all don't let that happen, and you make sure that everybody counts, and I really look up to that.
Well, thank you so very much, and it is very, very critical. The struggle that was taking place during the Dr. King's era, and to some degree it still exists today, just in different form. And as a result of that, we have to recognize that. But I often rely and try to live my life on a premise that my grandmother used to always try to instill in us, and that is, don't expect others to do for you what you can do for yourself. And so what we're trying to do here at Hinds County is to set that model in place, where we, as you know right now, we are losing our tax base, as well as our citizenry. People are moving outside of Hinds County, and they're moving for various reasons. But Hinds County has a very, very unique asset, and that is we have 8 institutions of higher learning. 8. And if you can imagine, and I would challenge anyone to go into any other state, and I would venture to say any other part of this nation, and find where you got 8 institutions of higher learning. Okay? And so what we have is a brain tank right here in Hinds County. And what we're doing is training those individuals to get their knowledge and go elsewhere. And we have to do a better job of retaining those people. And what we've come up with is a comprehensive plan that would help us to do just that.
Okay.
We have met with 18 different stakeholders in the community. And when I'm speaking of stakeholders, I'm talking about the nonprofit organizations, community-based organizations of various types. I'm talking about major corporate industries. I'm talking about the educational institutions that I just mentioned. And I'm also talking about the medical industry. All of those are contributing factors, and I know I'm leaving out some because I said 18. But that's just an illustration of the kind of industries that we're reaching out to. And those industries have given us what we call a SWOT. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And those are the things that concern them when they are considering operating in Hinds County. And so we're going to be working with those industries, as well as the municipalities. I failed to mention that. We did have this need assessment with the municipalities and the elected officials in Hinds County. And so we've got all of this input, and we've compiled it. Now we're working on coming up with a comprehensive plan that will give us a long-range goal in terms of where we're going with Hinds County. There's an old adage that says if you're going to leave Jackson and go to Chicago, the first thing you need to know is you got to get on I-55 if you're going to go the most efficient way from here. And of course, you have to also be prepared because there may be some detours in the road. And so you have to be able to make those adjustments as you go, but at least your objective and your focus is on getting to Chicago. And so using that analogy, this is what this comprehensive plan is going to do for Hinds County. We're going to create a working environment that will retain our brain tank, if you will. Right. And also create an environment where we can live, work, and play, and enjoy it in the process.
You know, I think it's critical, and it's so professional to go about that SWOT analysis. I mean, major corporations do that all the time. And, you know, to your point, I was listening, it wasn't too many months ago, I'd listened to that state auditor, Shad White, and he said that he had recently talked up at, I believe it was University of Mississippi. It could have been Mississippi State, but he had talked to a group of students up there, about 200, and I believe that he said that these were juniors or seniors, and he just asked for a rough estimate, and over 50% of the people raised their hands when he said, "Are you planning to leave Mississippi when you graduate?" Over 50%.
Wow.
Just right. So what you're doing, laying out this roadmap to work on retaining these people and giving them a quality of life and value that they can stay here in Hinds County, in Mississippi. I mean, I think that's the answer.
Yes. And we're going to be trying to level the playing field, not just with surrounding areas, because we intend to be in a collaborative manner to work with those surrounding areas of the metro area, if you will. But we want to grow Hinds County as well as Jackson to the magnitude of Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, Texas, and even Nashville at this point.
Wow.
That we have the capacity to do that. We have the resources here to do it. But we just have to come up with that comprehensive plan in order to get it implemented and on the right track for that development.
What would you say? What would you say as far as the things that are going on in Hinds County right now? What are things that you see that people can get? You know, because when you get buy-in from people, what are some things that you see that residents can get involved in? Can really buy into your plan, moving things forward? Is there any way to get residents more engaged?
You know, I think there are a number of ways in which we can get residents more engaged. But one of the things right now is that we have to face up to the reality that there's been a lot of neglect, if you will,
Yes.
in Hinds County. So as a result of that, it's going to take some time to reverse that trend. There's another adage, and I can throw these out all day, but there's another adage is if a ship is sinking, you first have to stop it from sinking before you can make it sail again.
Right.
And what we've got to do at this point is stop Hinds County from sinking.
Yeah.
And once we've gotten it raised back up to the level of the sea, then we can have it to sail. And I think this comprehensive plan is going to be a very good tool in order for that to happen. Now, once that happens, in answering to your question of what can we expect of our citizens, number one is we do need them to be very, very selective in the people that they choose to represent them. As
Okay.
you know, we have an election coming up. This is the term of election for the supervisors as well as state representatives. And we need to pick representatives that are people who can do the job and not just do sound bites.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people out there that are talking the talk, but they're not actually trying to do the work, and actually they may even be deceptive in the process of doing it. And I'm not trying to get off on that kind of a soundbite, but
Yeah.
but we have to be very, very selective in terms of the people that we choose to represent us and make sure that they have our interests at heart and they have a plan. A lot of times, you know, you're choosing people who don't have the experience.
So maybe by name or familiarity, people are making choices,
Right.
but that's not helping us.
That is not. And so what we've got to do is look for people who've got skill in an area that could improve the conditions for which we are involved in.
Well, I can't imagine somebody being more qualified than having been a county administrator. How many years did you do that?
Well, actually, I was only, and I have to admit, I was only there for 2 years. I served from 2008 to 2010. And during that time frame, we were going through some transitions and some other things. And so as a result of that, I was moved on.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean that's a big picture job. You really get to see all the inner workings.
Yes, I had that opportunity, and I truly believe that I believe in divine intervention. Let me make that clear up front. And I truly believe that I was placed there at that time so that I could be prepared for this moment.
I love stories like that. I believe in that type of thing too. We sow these seeds, and we don't always know, but then later on, more is revealed, and we discover, when we're able to reap something that the seed may have been planted years before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now,
Now,
go ahead.
the other thing that I want to talk about as it relates to this is we have also implemented an economic development plan. Now, this is something, as you know, we're losing our tax base again. And that most of it is going outside of the state. Some is going into the suburban areas, but it's still having a negative impact on Hinds County. And what we're doing is we have come up with an economic development plan as a part of this comprehensive plan that we're talking about, and we've initiated that. We joined a partnership with Hope Credit Union, and Hope Credit Union, as you know, started right here in Hinds County.
And they've
in the city of
grown
Jackson.
wonderful.
And they've grown to $1 billion operation. And I've had the opportunity to meet with them. And what we've done is, as a county, we have invested from the opera funds $3 million into that a program for Hinds County, only Hinds County economic development.
And they're going to turn that into
And-
a lot more than that.
And what is happening with the $3 million, they have agreed to match that $3 million with $7.5 million. So now we've got $10.5 million that we have available for those persons who are in business, who need to expand, who have encountered difficulties as a result of COVID, they are now able to go and get the necessary operating capital in order to get their business back on track to go. And Hope has indicated that they will also be working with those businesses to leverage with other financial programs, as an example with SBA.
Yeah.
Or some other type lending institution. So what is happening is, if your credit may have fallen as a result of COVID or what have you, and you are not able to meet the minimum requirements as a result, then now the fund and the program that we have with Hinds County Economic Development, we can help you to meet that threshold. And once you meet that threshold, now if you need $200,000, $300,000 or more, you are now eligible to go to SBA and get that.
Wow. Wow, that's going to be wonderful. And that's going to be kicking off very soon?
Well, actually, we got the program off. There's some tweaking that has to be done at this particular point. But we, at this point, have made in excess of 18, if I'm not mistaken, it's 18 loans at this particular time to various businesses. So that means we've saved employment, if you will.
Yeah.
A number of employees as a result of that.
That's great news. We're up on the time for the break, so we're going to dip out here for just a moment, and we've got a couple of commercials for you to see, and we'll be right back.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.
Okay, great. Welcome back to We Believe Digital Newsbreak. We're pleased to have Hinds County President of the Board of Supervisors, Vern O. Gavin, with us today. And we've been talking about an initiative, a collaboration that Supervisor Gavin had a hand in engineering with Hope Credit Union, who's not only matching, but also adding just enormous value to a $3 million investment that came from ARPA funds. And already 18 loans have been made, and that's the kind of thing we need to all growth. It appears, as I understand it, has to come through the economic vein, and that's exactly what this is aimed at. So that's terrific stuff. Is there anything more on that before we move on?
Well, I think, the main thing here is that another one of those statements, you can teach a person you can give a person a fish and feed him for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, then you can feed them for a lifetime. And this is what that program is designed to do. It is not designed to just, if you will, put money in somebody's pocket, but it's also designed to assist people to get their business off the ground running and hopefully flourish to the extent that we have multiple jobs created as a result of that. And so it's a win-win for the whole economy of Hinds County.
Let me ask you on the, will the people that, I don't know if that's considered too personal, but would the people that get the loans, are they going to be like listed on a website? Or, because I can't help but think that there's people been kept down for so long that if they see, ABC, hardware is got a loan or something, if they see that, and then they could be saying to themselves, well, these guys did it, I can do it too. So are people going to be able to see who these companies are? Is that publicized at all, or is that something that they need to do for themselves?
Well, what we've done is in partnering with Hope Credit Union, all of the publicity as it relates to exposing applicants and so forth. That is being done in accordance with the guidelines that have been placed on financial institutions. So I can't cannot answer that question directly. But we can talk about the type of businesses that have received funds, and we can talk about the number of jobs that are being created as a result of that or sustained as a result of it. We can't speak in that regard.
And we always hear in the term, DBEs. So what would be your guess as far as just, if this is not a inbounds question, you let me know, but what percentage of these loans do you think will be going to black-owned or female-owned or disadvantaged business enterprises?
Well, the program is not just limited to DBEs or disadvantaged businesses, but the truth of the matter is, as of this point, we are at 100%.
Wonderful.
And one of the other things here is the program is designed for small and minority businesses.
Good.
So as a result of that, it won't be consumed by some major corporation or conglomerate that coming in and see an opportunity.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't help but get that. It's hard to get that taste out of your mouth when they decided to have a special session of the legislature to give a multi-million-dollar corporation $247 million in tax incentives. They don't have a special session for the Jackson water crisis, but they have a special session to give millionaires more millions of tax incentives.
Right.
But this what you're doing is no parts of that, and it's doing business in a fair and equitable way where it needs to be done.
Yes, indeed. And as you mentioned the water crisis, we also have a program that we are implementing now to address the water crisis. It won't be the solution, but it will be a quick fix, if you will, for survival until the real solution is implemented. We are working with a program now that we are going to be implementing in South Jackson. And in that program, we're going to have filtration systems available where at various strategic locations, and we're primarily looking at homeowners association facilities where those right now we have people coming out and providing water at the parks, and people drive by.
Right.
But that creates somewhat of a hardship on some because they may not be able to be there at the time that the trucking system is available. So what we're going to do now is look towards having those neighborhood associations to have a facility where if people need to come by and get some drinking water through the filtration system or potable non-potable water, where they can come in and actually flush their toilets and have that kind of water as well. All they would have to provide is containers in order to get the water.
Wonderful. That's great. That's great news. Let's talk about crime for a minute.
Okay.
Jeez. I just, what was it, only 4 or 5 days ago, 15-year-old killing a 15-year-old. It's hard to get what's his name over there, C.J. LeMaster, he's, by his analysis, he said we're still, again, for the second year in a row, the murder capital in Jackson. And obviously, so that's going to, include Hines, but I don't see anybody else reporting that. I don't see, but assuming that's true, what is your take on how do you view this crime situation, and are we headed in the right direction? Or I know you saw to it that to help the Hines County deputies, you gave them a raise. I don't know how many years it had been since they had a raise, and you guys saw to it, the board saw to it that they got a raise to help retention.
Yes.
So to address the attrition that was going on, people jumping ship over to Capitol Police and all. Would you say a few words about all that, the whole crime situation?
Well, I think at this particular point, crime is a problem. If one person is killed, then that's too many. So we do have an issue here that has to be addressed. I think there's an issue that's nationwide, but of course, speaking specifically here in Hinds County and the city of Jackson, I think that there has to be more attention given to the problem. We have been working with the sheriff department, and we have allocated funds to make certain that his retention of officers is at least within the competitive range of what's around us and the options that they would have in going into, as you indicated, the Capitol Police. So we're trying to do that in order to retain those officers trained and skilled. Hopefully we'll be able to also get better training for them. I understand that we've worked out, an arrangement has been worked out with the FBI and as well as the other local municipalities to form somewhat of a task force to address the issue. So even though it may not be as openly articulated as the public would need, but there are some concerns being addressed. And again, it's going to be one of those processes that, this didn't occur overnight. And so it has to be a time factor allowed in order to get it corrected. But again, one killing is too many.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. We're coming down on the time. We got about another 5 minutes or so. Just so you know, I know the candidate qualifying period ends. The first next Wednesday.
February 1st is the deadline
Yeah.
for qualifying to seek election in the county as well as the state elections.
And
So if you're going to run for governor, you got to go ahead and qualify.
Get your papers into the
Get your papers in.
Secretary of State.
Yeah.
But so I was looking at, and I was looking at something. Somebody texted me a little chart, and I see for District 4, the seat that you've been holding. It looked like so far about 5 people have filed for to run for the seat. What is your thoughts on that? Is that a lot of people? Is that the way it ought to be? Is that what comes to mind when you think about 5 people potential challengers?
Well, one is too many. But as they say in this arena, you either run unopposed or you run scared.
Okay.
And so when you're running scared, that means that you put forth your best effort to do your job and to be victorious.
Right.
And that is my attitude as I approach this. I think everybody have the right to run for the position.
Sure.
And the citizens have a right to choose the candidate that they feel is most capable. I think that my work speaks for me, and so as a result of that, I'm going to continue to do my work and represent the people that, to the best of my ability, and hopefully they will see it worthy of giving me another term.
It sounds like running confident, not running scared.
Right. Well, that's confident, running scared at the same time.
Yeah.
But I also just want to mention one other thing, too, is we are implementing a long-term recovery program in Hinds County as well, and that is to address the disaster issues that are confronting us. As you know, there was a storm that impacted some people in Edwards.
Yes.
And those storms come through. Fortunately, we are not in the hurricane area, but we are in the tornado arena as well as other storms. And so as a result of that, that disaster recovery is being set up, and that's to assist those people who had damages to their property and so forth. So we've got that in the works now, and hopefully we'll be revealing that relatively soon.
Very good. That sounds great. And it also sounds like direct assistance to the people that are paying their taxes and paying their bills and all that. That's wonderful. I just wanted to point out, once again, we showed this flyer, but just want to let anybody listening know, especially Black Black-owned businesses in Jackson, in Hinds County, minority-owned businesses, female-owned businesses. Tomorrow, over at Smith Robertson Museum, tomorrow, the 26th, 3 different times. Breakfast time frame, 7 to 9, a lunch time frame from 11:30 to 1:30, or a dinner time frame from 4 to 6 p.m. Be over there at the Smith Robertson Museum Auditorium, 528 Bloom Street in Jackson, because Jackson Water and the Water Alliance, the National Water Alliance, are going to be hosting these 3 different forums tomorrow. And I heard I guess some people call him now the third-party administrator, the Jackson Water czar. Senator Horn calls him. And he made it very clear. He said the most beautiful thing about this moving forward on these fixes to the Jackson Water, which affects so much of Hinds County, is going to be the fact that they don't have to operate under the same rules and regulations of the state contracting. They're independent of that, and therefore this is all about minority participation. When normally the rules and regulations, people find ways to say no. They talk about capacity, they talk about bonding, everything under the sun. This is a golden opportunity where those rules do not apply. Doesn't mean there's not going to be competition, but take a chance. Go to one of those 2-hour sessions tomorrow over at Smith Robertson Museum. See what you can learn. If you're doing engineering, construction, any kind of contracting, electrical work, anything like that you do as a black contractor, be sure to be over there tomorrow and see and it seemed like there's a wonderful opportunity here we need to take advantage of. Okay. So, President Gavin, do you have any closing remarks before we take off?
Well, I would just like to remind the listening audience that Hinds County is moving forward in a progressive manner, and it is our mission, as our former president would say, to make Hinds County the Mecca of the South.
Right.
But I use the phrase that is a little bit more simpler, to make it a place to feel very comfortable to live, work, and play. And that is our mission, and we're moving in that direction.
I like it. And that kind of thing lends itself to people getting pride again. And I just love the sound of that. Well, that's it for this edition of Newsbreak. We're so glad you joined us. Now, on Friday at noon, I have it on very good authority that we'll have a special guest with us. State Representative William Bo Brown will be here Friday at noon. So I hope you tune in then, and thank you for tuning in now. And please visit the WeBelieveDigital.com website. Send us stars. Hit that donate button if you can. Tell your friends about us. Click the little bell up at the top so you get all your notifications when we're coming live. And we'll just keep on keeping on. And we want to thank our producer, Ariel, and say have a great day and stay safe out there.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.